As if this piece was not already crazy enough, I've decided to make it even crazier. Now, as I mentioned in my recent YouTube short, there is an existing piano recording of a single piano version of Rock 3 by the pianist Christopher Falzone. He actually transcribed both the second and the third piano concerti. I highly recommend that you guys check out this recording. The project started off with me just transcribing this piece note by note, which essentially consisted of me just playing it back at 0.5 speed and listening to it over and over and over and trying to transcribe every single thing that he did. But if any of you have transcribed music before, you know that it's just about the most tedious thing you can do musically. It's just very time consuming and you have to be ultra focused because you have to listen to every single detail multiple times to try to get exactly what's happening. Unfortunately, Falzone passed away before he wrote down this piece, so there is, to my knowledge, no existing sheet music. However, as I continued to go through the piece, I realized that this version is, I would say, not quite finished yet, because there are certain moments where he plays the written out piano line from the piano concerto without adding any orchestra textures, where one definitely could do so. Now, a lot of the time he does incorporate the orchestral lines, but there are still these pockets and moments where there's something missing. And as we all know, there is no such thing as a perfect performance, because on stage, mistakes happen no matter how good of a pianist you are, and I just couldn't tell sometimes, was this the intention? Or was this a mistake, or did he mean to play this in a different register, etc. Now, the other existing solo version is by the pianist composer Peng-Peng. It is actually available if you guys want to go download it. However, as I mentioned also, I don't believe that there is any recording of it. When I was looking at this version, I kind of thought that some sections were almost too difficult, and I wanted to make it a little bit more pianistic, as well as incorporating all of the orchestral lines. So, to make a long story short, I just decided to make my own arrangement. Now I have here, of course, the 2-piano version, the orchestral reduction for a second piano. The recording that I have on my YouTube channel was using this music, and this is what most people play if they are playing this piece with a piano accompanist. Now, even though this is the official version, there are some things about it that I don't really like, and that's found even at the very beginning in this figure right here. For instance, the way that the second piano is written is just a little bit clunky. Compare that to what the orchestra sounds like. So the temptation is, the way that this is written, to make too much of this, when really what you hear in the orchestra is something like. Also, in this piano part, you're missing the bassoon line. So you get this line, but you don't get. Hence the reason why I've decided to write it this way, which I think sounds more like the actual orchestra part. So as you can see, that's why it's important for me to look at the score, so I can look at the original source to see exactly what his intention was, rather than just looking at the already written out piano reduction. Now at this point you might be thinking, isn't it impossible to get every orchestral line into the piano part? And of course it is impossible. There needs to be compromises made throughout the entire piece. But that's why it's important to understand the structure, to understand how to analyze the piece, to understand what lines are most important, which of those can be redistributed, which of those can be moved elsewhere. Here's an example of a place where I had to do a lot of redistribution. You can see that the piano has these arpeggiated sequences, and there are these 2 clarinets trading off lines. At the same time, you've got the strings. Originally, the piano has this. Which requires you to use both of your hands. Now, it was important for me to keep the perpetual motion of the 16th notes, and this is the important melody. And at the same time, you want to keep the bass motion. since I don't have this part practiced yet, I'm just going to go ahead and play the MIDI. Now, at the end of all of this, we do plan to release the sheet music and publish it. We're not exactly quite sure how or where, but we want to release it in various formats along with the MIDI, since I know this is going to be crazy for people to play. So if you want to have the sheet music and the MIDI files, we will hopefully make that available soon. I have gone about halfway through the first movement. It's taken a while, but I do plan not only to release the sheet music, but also to record this. I'm going to be posting more updates about this soon. I've actually had a couple people ask me about ways to donate to this work. This channel is not monetized. I only have one sponsor, so if you guys feel so inclined, I have a Venmo and a PayPal in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I just passed up 700 subscribers. It's kind of crazy how all this is going. I would really love to be able to produce more videos quickly. I know my output's kind of slow. It's because I have a lot of work. My main source of income is actually piano accompaniment. Each semester I work with about sometimes between 30 and 40 students. So that really takes up a lot of my time, a lot of my practice. I would love to dedicate more time to these teaching videos, to recordings, and to getting back to playing live. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.